All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to get a handle on a concept that is quite literally powering our entire digital world. The three different types of data that decide everything from what you see online to how your favorite brands operate.
So let's start with a puzzle. Picture this. You're running a huge online store, and you have millions of customers. How in the world do you actually know them? I mean, what do they like? Why do they choose one product over another? Right now, you're not just swimming in information, you're kind of drowning in it.
Well, the secret is realizing all that information isn't just one giant, messy blob. It's actually a puzzle, and it's made up of three very different kinds of pieces. And here's the cool part. Once you figure out how to fit them all together, a really clear picture starts to take shape. So let's start with the first piece of our puzzle. This is the most organized, most straightforward piece of them all, what we call structured data. This is the data that absolutely loves to follow the rules. Think of it like this. It's information that fits perfectly into a spreadsheet or a database. You know, everything has its own little box, its own designated place, a specific format. It's all neat and tidy.
Our online store's customer list. That's a perfect example. Every customer gets their own nice, neat row, and every single piece of information, their ID, their name, their age, their email, sits perfectly in its own little column. It's clean, it's predictable, and for a computer, it is an absolute dream to process.
And that organization is its superpower, right? It's incredibly easy to search, to query, to analyze, but that exact same rigidity is also its greatest weakness. I mean, what happens when you want to store something new, something that doesn't fit into one of those pre-made columns? Well, the whole structure kind of breaks.
Okay, so let's move on to the next piece of our puzzle. This one offers a whole lot more flexibility. You can think of it as the connector piece, the in-between data. So this is the middle ground. It doesn't live in those strict rows and columns, but it does use things like tags or markers to give itself some kind of shape, some hierarchy. It's got some rules, but it can also bend and adapt.
A typical online order is a fantastic example of this. You've probably seen something like it stored in a format called JSON. See, it's not a rigid table, but you can clearly see how those tags like customer, items, and shipping create a clear, nested structure. You know, some orders might have a discount code, others might not. This flexible format handles that kind of variation beautifully.
Now, this flexibility is a huge advantage. It can handle all this complex, nested information without breaking a sweat. But, and there's always a but, that adaptability comes with a trade-off. It's a bit harder to search, and you need different, more specialized kinds of databases to really make sense of it all. And now we get to the biggest, the most challenging, and honestly the most valuable piece of the entire puzzle. This is the wild, messy data of raw human expression.
This is basically everything else. We're talking emails, videos, social media posts, audio files, all of it. It has absolutely no predefined format because it's the raw, unfiltered language of how we humans actually communicate.
Just think about a customer's review on social media. It is packed with emotion, opinions, slang, context, emojis. You can't capture the true feeling of wow with a mind-blown emoji in a simple spreadsheet column, can you? This is where the real story, the real why, is often hiding.
And here is the single most important part of this whole explainer. A staggering 80% of all data that organizations have is unstructured. Let that sink in. The vast majority of information out there exists in this wild, messy format.
So what does that mean? It means the deepest, richest, most honest insights about your customers are locked away inside all this messy data. But, and it's a big but, unlocking it is the biggest challenge. It requires really advanced tools, things like AI and machine learning, just to even begin to understand what's in there.
So how does our online store solve its puzzle with these three completely different pieces? How do they make sense of it all and actually get that clear picture we talked about?
Okay, let's just lay our three puzzle pieces on the table, side by side. You've got your structured data, the neat, tidy tables, super easy to analyze. Then you have your unstructured data, the messy, chaotic human stuff that's really hard to analyze. And sitting right there in the middle, you have semi-structured data, offering that flexible compromise.
The real magic happens when you bring them all together. The company uses that structured data to see what products are actually selling. It uses semi-structured data from its website to see how customers are clicking around the site. And then it analyzes the unstructured social media posts and reviews to understand why customers feel the way they do. By weaving all three together, they go way beyond just looking at numbers.
They build a complete 360-degree story of their customer. This is how you transform just raw, noisy data into genuinely powerful business intelligence.
So, let's zoom out. What are the key things to remember? First, that huge chunk of the digital world, about 80%, is unstructured. Second, each of these data types needs different tools and a different approach to be understood. And finally, the real power isn't in any single piece of the puzzle, but in combining all three to get that complete, unified view.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. In our digital world, pretty much every single action we take creates data, and all that data tells a story. Understanding these three types, well, that's the very first step to being able to read the incredibly powerful stories your own data can tell.